Hey, it's Harlan, and welcome to day 2. What is keto, and why does everybody seem to have a negative response to it? Tell your friends, tell your family you're doing keto, and they'll go, "Oh no, that's dangerous. That's ketoacidosis is really bad for you. If you do keto, you're going to get ketoacidosis. There's too much fat, the saturated fat. You're going to have a heart attack." Nonsense. That's what you hear from people, even from doctors who are not educated as to what keto is. But once they see your results, and once they see the gold standard, which is your blood work, they're going to be blown away. Like my doctor. When I told my doctor I'm doing keto, he said, "You got to be careful about ketoacidosis." Now, anybody should know that there is nothing in common with keto and ketoacidosis, okay? Nothing. Months later, he sees me, sees my blood work, and says, "Wow, how's that keto I told you to do doing?" Yeah, right. So we're going to be talking about keto. Keto is not something new. It's been around since the 1920s. And the reason that it's had such a hard time is because the sugar industry has used high fat basically as their whipping boy to avoid poking attention at the real culprit, which is sugar and carbs. Fat does not make you fat. Sugars and carbs do. Take off the sugars, take off the carbs, and your weight will start to go down. Add fat, as we're going to teach you how to do, and your weight will go down even faster. So the ketogenic diet actually started in the 1920s and 1930s with people looking into it as a treatment for a natural treatment for epilepsy. But when the drug industry came out with anticonvulsant medicines, which would stop people while they were having a fit, keto fell into disfavor. But keto has been used since the 1920s and 30s as a natural way of weight control. Unfortunately, the public has not been told the truth about what keto is. Ketones are not some toxic substance that's in your body. When we are building ketones, it is a natural process. So just understand that we are not advising you to do anything unhealthy. In fact, we recommend that you work with your doctor. The problem is that most doctors don't know very much about nutrition at all. There are no courses about nutrition in medical school. Chances are your doctor knows less than you do about ketosis at this point in time. Ketosis is what happens when you consume a very low carb, medium or moderate protein, and a high fat diet. What it does is it stops your body from using glucose as its primary energy source. It starts using ketones, which are the alternative source when glucose isn't available. So what happens is carbs turn almost immediately into sugar. Obviously, when you ingest something with sugar, it's already there as sugar. And so your body keeps burning that, and it affects your insulin. What ketosis does is change your body from being a sugar or carb burner to being a fat burner. And depending on what your lifestyle is and how your individual body chemistry, it can take you as little as a few days to a few weeks to get into ketosis. It's a simple process and it happens to everybody. When someone is able to say, I am in ketosis, well, it means that they are now a fat burning. Being in ketosis is a completely normal and safe metabolic state. Newborn babies automatically go into keto. It's how they get by with eating very, very little because ketones provide most of their energy needs. So we're going to go back to that primal state, that original state, when your body is fueled by ketones and you no longer need carbs. So here's some changes you're going to begin to notice. For those of you who were the clean plate eater club members when you were growing up and your parents told you finish everything on your plate, you're going to notice that you're going to start to feel full, much more rapidly. You're going to eat less. On a typical day, we don't recommend skipping meals, okay? That's diet mentality. We don't want you to be hungry. If you eat the way we teach you, you're not going to be hungry. It's going to be a thing of the past. You will never say, I'm starving on keto. It just means that you're not eating enough. If you are overweight, especially if you've been told by your doctor that you need to lose weight, you should make arrangements to get a complete blood workup. You want to look not only at your blood count and blood sugar, but you also want to make sure that you're using a physician who will be able to check your hormones, your thyroid, to make sure that you are balanced. If you have high cholesterol, I want you to learn about the high cholesterol and don't worry and don't listen to the things that the people who are going to say that your cholesterol is going to go higher. Because after 6 months, you're going to notice something really dramatic. Your cholesterol goes down. My dangerous cholesterol went way down. My doctors are stunned by the results. What did I do? I keep keto. It's simple to do, and we're going to walk you through the entire process. Now, ketones are used most efficiently by the body for burning fuel. Carbs turn into sugar. Sugar, obviously sugar. But protein in large quantities is also converted, although at a much slower pace. So the old Atkins diet, which was unlimited low carbs and unlimited protein, it didn't help because they didn't realize at the time, Atkins didn't realize that protein through the process of glycogenesis also converts to sugar. What doesn't convert to sugar? Ketones. And whatever conversion process there happens is at an extremely slow rate. So you start producing and burning ketones, and your body starts to notice the change. Well, how do you know that you are in ketosis? We'll take that up in just a moment. So how do you know if you are in ketosis? Well, the most common way that people have learned, although it's incorrect, to check is with keto strips. They're inexpensive. You can buy them at a drugstore. You can buy them on Amazon. You pee on them, and then they change color. Here's the problem. They're not accurate at all. They can report that you are in keto when, according to your blood, you are not. And they can report that you are not in keto when, in fact, you are. They are completely unreliable, and they're just not worth using at all. So there are two other ways to check. One is with a meter for which you stick your hand, you prick your finger, and but you need a special meter. The blood sugar meters that people use for diabetes do not measure ketones. I'll have links below for where you can get the right meters that you can get. The other product, the other way to check that you are in keto, and the method that I use is using your breath. And I use this tool, which is called a ketonics. You connect it to your computer and you blow into it, and it gives you a measurement of whether you are in keto or not. It's simple to do. What's the best time to check yourself? Well, first of all, you should keep your time consistent. After you have been asleep, some people say that's the best time to check and see if you're in keto. Other people say at the end of the day, that's the best time. Experiment, but once you find out what's good for you, what works for you, stick with it. Now, a lot of people who don't mind getting stuck check their blood and their ketones after eating different foods to see whether a certain food sets them off or gets them out of keto. I'm just not into sticking my finger that much. So at the beginning, I used my ketonics a lot to check and see what would happen. And I found that while I had a good idea, unless I was knocked completely out of ketosis, reading to reading could vary very widely. So how do you really know that you're in ketosis? Your hunger goes away, your energy picks up, and your thinking is a lot sharper. When you are in ketosis, you will feel less hunger. Weight loss or maintaining your weight will be very, very easy, almost effortless. You will think much more accurately. You will sleep better, and your metabolic functioning will be better. Your blood sugar will stabilize if you are pre-diabetic or diabetic. Don't be surprised if you start seeing changes. Also, the level of inflammation in your body will go down. If you're wearing your ring, you may notice that it starts to feel thinner soon. That it starts to turn much more easily. Your blood pressure is going to go down. Your good cholesterol is going to go up. Your triglycerides, as mine, are going to go down. You're going to be able to go longer periods of time without noticing that your hunger at all. Energy, heartburn is going to go away. Many people report that their sex drive goes and their sex lives improve. People get sicker less frequently. Some people think that it slows down the aging process. But mostly, when I'm in keto, I notice that I'm thinking more clearly, thinking sharper. Skin issues, people who've had skin tags, notice that they go away. And you will be able to exercise much better than you ever had done before. And if you've had mood issues, you'll notice that those go away as well. Now, I know that you're anxious to get started, and my goal is with Kim to help you make incremental changes, not radical changes, but incremental changes. So we aren't going to go cold turkey into keto overnight, which is the reason many people burn out. What I am going to ask you to do is to make small changes. And we're going to start with a change, and we're going to grow on top of that change more and more. So this change that I'm going to ask you to do is to start cutting way back on breads, cutting way back with the goal of eliminating breads. That means that no toast in the morning. That means no sandwiches for lunch. That means when you go out to eat, no bun, please. And that means when you go to the restaurant and they bring you the breads, no matter how good they are, you learn to say the words, no, thank you. That's all I want from you to start, is start to move towards eliminating breads from your diet. Now, there's no difference whether the bread is white bread or whole grain or wheat or spelt or rye or whatever. If it's a bread, you're going to start moving to eliminate it. Again, it doesn't matter whether the bread is gluten-free bread. We're going to say no to breads. We'll show you some substitutes for breads as we go further and show you where you can get them. But for right now, let's turn the dial down to bread and see how quickly we can go to zero bread. Trust me, we're going to give you some recipes this week. You won't miss it at all. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.